Alright, listen up. Be honest with yourself. How many times you've complained about your job? Today? This morning? Maybe 2 minutes ago while this video was loading? Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. Because guess what? My negative idealist self, yes, the person who dreams big but also rolls her eyes while doing so, is about to tell you a story so unrealistic, so scandalously optimistic that you might think it's workplace fan fiction. But stay with me and maybe subscribe for more of this, because you know what? You might actually enjoy it. Once upon a time, there existed organizations that were fair, positive, and genuinely flexible. Places where you actually did what you wanted, where management and employees discussed and communicated like actual adults, and teams collaborate without turning every meeting into either a low-budget therapy session or a street brawl. I know, some of you can already feel your inner cynic clearing its throat. And honestly, fair, totally fair. I'm actually not a betting person. I can barely choose a new restaurant for the fear of risking it and getting bad food. But I would put money on the fact that you've complained about your work. Maybe more than once, maybe this week, maybe again today. And there's no shame in that. Complaining is how humans usually cope and occasionally actually improve things. And also, all those memes about workplace exist for a reason. So, since it's the season of twinkly lights and cinematic optimism, let's step into the universe of Christmas films for a moment. I want to tell you how I imagine the perfect organization, the unicorn company, my dream workplace. The if Hallmark hired the CEO kind of situation. And honestly, I've watched so many Christmas films, probably most of them, that I would be able to be that CEO, or at least write few scripts about that CEO myself. Now, because I've been a consultant long enough to accidentally double as a part-time therapist, I've heard every organizational complaint. And whenever I stumble across something done appallingly, or someone vents to me, I like to imagine, but how would the perfect version look like? So yes, this is one of those videos, the ones where I let you peek into my idealistic daydreams. And honestly, a little escapism never hurt anyone. And if you're unhappy where you work, if you're unhappy with your organization, maybe imagining something better is the first tiny step you can take towards building something better. One small change at a time. So, what does my perfect organization look like? Imagine a cross between the company from the end of every Hallmark movie. You know, the company that magically appears out of nowhere and runs entirely on passion and community spirit, with Lorelai Gilmore's Inn, mixed with the company from The Intern. A place with charm, heart, and coffee strong enough to solve at least half of its problems. Although, in all fairness, I'm convinced the stuff that Lorelai drinks out of those humongous mugs is just water colored as coffee. She and I definitely have very different tastes in coffee. Picture this. You walk into a very cool workplace. Maybe it's a renovated barn, maybe it's an industrial place that was turned into some sort of workplace, which would make Pinterest tear up with pride. It doesn't even matter what time you arrive, because we're flexible like that in my organization. You grab a specialty coffee that definitely didn't come out of a sad corporate coffee machine. People say good morning like they mean it, and nobody walks in with the I don't want to be here cloud or I am too burned out to function energy. We catch up, like proper human chat, not hey about that report type of chat or kind reminder on something. No, we don't all have to be best friends, but it wouldn't hurt, would it? Then we all drift into our day, planned in whatever way makes sense for us. No strict 9 to 5, no performative overtime, and no badge of honor for being exhausted. People deliver because they can, not because they are being squeezed dry. And resources? We have them, including human resources. Shocking, I know. This is not just a bearable organization. It's a place where people genuinely want to be a part of. In this organization, people don't just slog away as if they are robots on factory setting. They work with actual passion because they know the purpose of the place, and shockingly, it aligns with their own. The vision and mission aren't just slogans gathering dust on a wall. They're living, breathing parts of how the company moves. And yes, everyone knows them. They're not memorized like the poem your teacher made you recite in primary school, but understood in essence. And that's because someone took time to weave them into the company culture. Most people my age, and certainly younger, want to belong to an organization that stands for more than let's make more revenue than last quarter. And honestly, organizations should step up and offer that. And while we're on the topic of meaning, values. In my perfect organization, values aren't just plastered on the wall or forced onto your laptop as a mandatory screensaver. And frankly, mandatory screensavers should be illegal. I change mine with the season or whenever I fancy a switch. At the moment, I'm bouncing between a photo about skiing and one with a drumming kit. Because I keep saying I'm gonna restart my drum lesson soon. Soonish. But here's the point. Values only work if they're lived from the top and reinforced day to day. And I don't mean by punishment, I mean by conversations, nudges, and maybe course corrections if they must. And the values themselves? Picture this, they're authentic. Not something copied from whatever is trendy or written by a consultant who never set foot in your building. It's genuinely hilarious how many companies have sustainability as their core value while simultaneously contributing to half the chaos on this planet. Do I even need to mention fair compensation? Or a fair reward system if you have one? Because I'm sorry, but in what universe does lunch with the CEO count as a reward? True story. Here's another wild one. No unfair overtime. No, this is how it is in this business nonsense. If there's a genuine emergency, fine, we can all understand that life happens. But otherwise, enjoy your time off properly. And just like in a Christmas film, let's stop celebrating people who are clearly burnt out but show up early, stay late, just like a martyr. It doesn't help anyone on the long run. And you know what? Maybe skip podcasts that glorify capitalism as if it's a lifestyle. Book that holiday, leave your laptop at home or at the office. And if you genuinely can't sit still, go volunteer at your local charity. In my perfect organization, there would be no work talk outside of work, even if you're best mates with your colleagues. Build real relationships, share stories, talk about childhood memories or the ridiculous injuries you gave yourself while growing up. For context, mine went down a treat in the office. Broken nose, broken head, lots of broken bones in general. Some stories about some scissors being stuck in my throat, but don't worry, all very minor. Another amusing thing about this perfect organization of mine, it learns from the past, good or bad. It's flexible and flexible and agile in this case are not just business BS. It doesn't cling to whatever clearly doesn't work just out of sheer stubbornness, dragging everyone on a path that nobody believes in. Absolutely not. This organization keeps what works and bins the rest, just like we all claim to do on 1st of January, only this time it actually happens. And this place doesn't waste time on soulless rituals. Everything they do have meaning, or at the very least, a bit of purpose. People don't mind the dull admin activities as long as part of their work genuinely matters. But sitting through hours of daily meetings with no resolution just for the purpose of syncing, that's off the menu completely. Naturally, communication and transparency are at the top of my list. I'm a very straightforward person and I don't do sugarcoating. So, in my dream organization, everything is communicated as is. With empathy, of course, but still honestly. This way, everyone can actually grow. And communication wouldn't be a one-way broadcast from the management. No, employees would be heard and actually heard. We'd talk, but we would talk with purpose. Alongside honesty comes this. People don't run away from conflict. And no, please don't picture a war scene. That's not what I mean. See, humans are complicated. We argue even with the people we adore, but then we make up. So instead of sweeping conflict under the rug, hoping it would dissolve by itself, we'd actually address it. Even if this means mediating some slightly uncomfortable, maybe even dramatic exchanges. It's messy, yes, but with openness and fair solutions, things can get better. Speaking of solutions, all decisions would be fair for everyone involved, which means kind of letting go of the traditional manager knows best attitude. In my organization, management wouldn't float around acting like they hold the universal truth. We decide together, win together, and if it happens, fail together. On that note, we'd actually foster genuine, healthy relationships across the organization, between colleagues, between departments, across all levels. This is not a forced, we are a family business BS. No, people. Know their strengths, their weak spots, their quirks, and this way you can build teams that complement each other rather than compete. No pitting teams against each other in the name of performance. No comparison, no finger pointing. It never helps, and it never will. And finally, employees would be trusted and empowered, as they should be in any place that values creativity and innovation. Trying something new wouldn't be seen as a liability. Tradition can stay, but like in any good Christmas film, it needs new spark from time to time. When people feel like they contribute and do things they genuinely enjoy, they will put their hearts into it without a constant need for a reward to keep them going. Though recognition should definitely exist. So tell me, if you could tweak your organization or build the perfect organization from scratch, how would it look like? Let me know in the comments below, and let's build our ideal workplace. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and sprinkle a bit of Hallmark magic in your work life. Thanks for hanging out.